Let me ask you a question. What if, just what if the future you dream about, the life you know you were born to live, already exists, not somewhere far off in the distance, not in the realm of imagination, but right here in the quantum field of infinite possibilities? You see, we've been conditioned to believe that we must work hard, wait, and hope for our future to arrive someday. But the latest research in neuroscience, epigenetics, and quantum physics says otherwise. It says you don't have to wait for your future. You can tune into it. Most people wake up in the morning and immediately begin to think the same thoughts as the day before. They look at their environment, the same room, the same face in the mirror, the same routines, and their senses reaffirm their identity. This triggers a cascade of familiar feelings: stress, anxiety, doubt, maybe want in that person, maybe a little boredom. From that emotional state, they begin to think again in the same patterns. Nothing's changing. Life is hard. Why can't I move forward? The same thoughts lead to the same choices. The same choices lead to the same behaviors. The same behaviors produce the same experiences. And those experiences then reinforce the same emotions. It becomes a loop. And that loop is what we call a e-personality. But more importantly, that loop is what continues to generate the same e-personal reality, day after day, year after year. Now, here's the breakthrough in that person. Neuroscience has proven that when you think a thought, you're firing a set of neurons in your brain. If you keep thinking that thought, those neurons begin to fire together in a pattern. As the saying goes, neurons that fire together wire together. So repeated thoughts physically shape the neural architecture of your brain. And your brain becomes a record of your past, of what you've consistently thought, felt, and experienced. But if you want a different future, you need to interrupt that pattern. You need to stop thinking in predictable, routine ways and start thinking in new, elevated, and unfamiliar ways. Because your brain does not know the difference between an experience you're having in the external world and an experience you're vividly imagining with strong emotional engagement. If you close your eyes and begin to rehearse a new way of being, if you imagine a future in which you are abundant, joyful, creative, empowered, loved, your brain begins to fire in new sequences, new patterns, new combinations. It's as if you're installing the hardware for that new experience in advance. In time, your brain begins to look like the future, not the past. What you repeatedly think becomes what you neurologically become. So if you consistently focus your thoughts on lack, limitation, and survival, you reinforce the circuits of fear, guilt, resentment, and separation. But if you begin to place your attention on elevated states, gratitude, compassion, inspiration, courage, you signal new genes in new ways, because your thoughts are the language of the brain and your feelings are the language of the body. And together, when thought and feeling align, they create an E state of being. That state of being is what begins to broadcast a new electromagnetic signature into the field around your body. This is not philosophy. This is measurable. Your heart and brain emit electromagnetic fields that can be detected several feet from your body. The quality of your thoughts and emotions affects the currents of those fields. In states of gratitude, love, or joy, the heart enters into coherent rhythm, and that coherence influences brain function, hormonal balance, and even immune response. You become more whole, more aligned, and more magnetic to experiences that match elevated state. Now, here's the key. You can't wait for your life to change so you feel better. You have to feel better so your life can change. You can't wait for wealth to feel abundant. You can't wait for love to feel whole. That's the old model of cause and effect. The new model is about you causing an effect. That means you have to become the person who thinks and feels like their future has already arrived. When you consistently think and feel from the reality you want to create, not from the one you're currently experiencing, you begin to pull that future toward you. When you wake up and choose new thoughts, intentional, elevated thoughts, you begin to step out of the habitual past. You begin to reprogram your subconscious mind. You begin to form new synaptic connections, and you begin to broadcast a new energy signature into the quantum field, signaling a new destiny. Because in the quantum model of reality, every possibility already exists in the present moment. There's a version of you that's already healed, already successful, already deeply fulfilled. The way to align with that version of yourself is not through effort and control, but through coherence, but through intentionally choosing thoughts that match the emotions of your desired future. The more you invest your energy into new thoughts, ones aligned with a future you desire, the less energy is available for the thoughts of the past in that person. You begin to prune away the neurological connections that no longer serve you and reinforce the ones that do. It becomes easier to think in new ways. It becomes natural to feel inspired, to act differently, to attract synchronicities and opportunities that reflect your inner change. That's when you begin to see evidence in your outer world, not because the world changed first, but because you did. In the conventional Newtonian model of reality, because an effect is linear. You take action, you see results. You push something and it moves. But when we step into the realm of quantum physics, everything we know about space, time, and matter becomes radically different. In the quantum model, reality is not solid and fixed. It's fluid, dynamic, and governed by probabilities. It's not just about what you do. It's about what you are energetically being. In this invisible field of infinite potential, you are not separate from your environment. You are entangled with it. And the signal you broadcast into that field is what the field reflects back to you. So many people say affirmations like, I am wealthy, I am healthy, or I am loved, but they do so from a place of lack, frustration, or doubt. Their words are saying one thing, but their energy, their emotions, their unconscious beliefs, their state of being is saying something entirely different. And the quantum field listens to your energy, not your vocabulary. You can say, I'm abundant all day long, but if you feel scarcity in your heart, you're still sending out the signal of lack. The electromagnetic imprint you emit into the field is not based on what you say. It's based on what you consistently feel and believe. Because energy is emotion in motion. Emotion is what carries your signal into the field. Your thoughts are like the electrical charge in the quantum field. Yeah, but your emotions are the magnetic charge. Together, they create the electromagnetic signature of your state of being. And that signature is what determines your interaction with the unified field. So when you think a thought but feel the opposite, there is no coherence. The signal is weak, scattered, and contradictory. But when your thoughts and emotions are aligned, when you think wealth and feel abundance, when you think health and feel vitality, that's when you begin to send a clear, strong signal. That's when the quantum field begins to organize matter in alignment with your new frequency. Everything in the universe is made of energy vibrating at different frequencies. You are like a tuning fork, and your life experiences are always matching the frequency you are broadcasting. If you're stuck in habitual states like stress, anger, or anxiety, you're resonating with the predictable timeline of your past. But the moment you shift into elevated states, gratitude, joy, compassion, you can tap into a different energetic pattern. You're no longer resonating with the known. You're stepping into the unknown, into the realm of possibility. And it is in the unknown that true creation occurs. This is why inner work is more powerful than outer effort. So many people try to manipulate their environment, chase opportunities, or force outcomes, all while remaining energetically unchanged. They haven't shifted their frequency. So the external world has no reason to respond differently. But when you go within, when you change your internal state, you change your relationship with the external world. The quantum field is non-local, non-linear, and infinite in nature. It doesn't require time to deliver what matches your energy. It simply reflects who you are being in the present moment. This is not about pretending or faking a feeling. It's about generating the emotion of your future before it happens. It's about becoming so familiar with what abundance feels like that you don't need money in your bank account to feel it. You don't need perfect health to feel wholeness. You don't need a partner to feel love. The energy of your future has to be created in the now. That's the paradox. When you feel the emotion of your future as if it's already here, you're no longer looking for it. You're already living in it. And the field begins to reflect that signal by collapsing potential into form. Every time you sit with yourself, close your eyes and move into elevated emotional states. Without needing a reason, you're practicing how to create from the field instead of from matter. You're no longer dependent on your environment to make you feel a certain way. You're no longer reacting, you're creating. And in doing so, you begin to transcend the old self. You stop signaling the same genes, stop firing the same neural circuits, and start becoming biologically aligned with a new destiny. That's when the field starts to work on your behalf. Not because of what you said, but because of what you energetically became. In the world of energy and consciousness, the future is not something that just happens to you. It's something you create through your state of being. Most people are conditioned to wait for change before they feel different. They wait for the promotion to feel successful, for the diagnosis to be cleared before they feel healthy, for the relationship to feel love. But the quantum model of reality tells us that this is the wrong sequence. In order to change your life, you must first change your inner state. You have to teach your body emotionally what that future feels like before it arrives. The body is the unconscious mind. It doesn't know the difference between a real experience and one you vividly imagine with enough emotion. So when you begin to emotionally embrace your future, before it's physically manifested, you're conditioning your body to believe that the future is already happening in the present moment. That's what begins to reprogram your subconscious. That's what begins to change your biology, because your body is listening to your feelings. And your feelings are the feedback loop between your inner world and your future reality. When you imagine a future where you are thriving, successful, deeply connected, or fulfilled, it's not enough to just visualize it. You have to feel it in your heart and in your nervous system. You have to bring up the energy of that future as if it's already real. That means activating elevated emotions: gratitude, love, freedom, joy, inspiration, without needing anything in your outer world to justify those feelings. The more you can generate that inner state, the more you are aligning with the frequency of that future reality. You are beginning to embody the energy of the experience before the event occurs. Every future in the quantum field already exists as a possibility, and each of those futures has a specific vibrational signature. When you begin to feel the emotions of your desired future before it manifests, you're tuning your personal energy to match the vibration of that potential. It's like tuning a radio. If you want to hear a certain station, you have to adjust the dial to match its frequency. If you want to experience a new future, you have to tune your energy to it. And the only way to do that is through feeling. Most people live in the emotions of their pasting regret, guilt, resentment, frustration, fear. And when you live in those emotions, you're unconsciously recreating the same future. You're broadcasting a signal that matches the past, not the future. Your body becomes addicted to the chemical cocktail of survival. You wake up in the morning and start feeling the same emotions from yesterday. You get out of bed already memorized into a certain state of being, which then drives the same thoughts, the same behaviors, the same experiences. It's a closed loop. Nothing new can enter that field of sameness. But the moment you decide to feel something different without waiting for anything to change, you break the pattern. When you start your day with gratitude, as if your future has already unfolded, you are no longer anchored to your past. You are stepping into a new timeline. That emotion becomes the catalyst for new thought, new actions, and new experiences. Your brain begins to rewire, your hormones shift, your genetic expression changes, and you start to become someone new. That's when synchronicities happen. That's when life begins to organize itself in surprising ways that reflect your inner coherence. It takes practice to do this because it requires you to overcome the habits of your body and your environment. Your body has been conditioned for years to live in survival. It has memorized worry, stress, and control. So when you begin to teach it how to live in joy, abundance, and wholeness, it resists. It wants to return to the familiar emotions of the known past. But when you persist, when you keep practicing the feeling of your future every single day, you begin to signal new genes in new ways. You create a new neural architecture that reflects that future experience. You start to become chemically aligned with a destiny that has yet to be made manifest. The stronger the emotion you feel, the more real that future becomes to your body. And the more real it feels, the more you believe in it. The more you believe in it, the more you surrender to it. And when you surrender to that reality, you stop trying to force outcomes from the limited mind. Instead, you begin to trust the process of becoming. You start to embody the energy of your future self and live from that state. That is the path of creation. That is how you access a reality that already exists within the field of infinite potential. Most of us move through life unconsciously replaying the soundtracks of our past. From the moment we wake up, our autonomic nervous system activates patterns seeded long ago, returning us to familiar emotional states: anxiety about bills, guilt over past mistakes, regret about lost opportunities, or the wary resignation that tomorrow will feel just like today. These emotions are comfortable in their own way because the body knows them. It has memorized their chemical signature, their neural pathways, and the script that accompanies them. Yet this comfort keeps us trapped in a loop, forcing us to recreate the same experiences over and over, even when those experiences feel unsatisfying or painful. The quantum field doesn't differentiate between old and new timelines. It simply magnifies the energy you broadcast. If you continue to resonate with past emotional frequencies, the field will orchestrate circumstances that mirror those frequencies, luring you back into the known rather than inviting you into the unknown. When you dwell on old disappointments, you're not just remembering events, you're experiencing them at a neurological and biochemical level. Your brain fires the same neural circuits, your heart sends the same incoherent waves, and your body secretes the same stress hormones. Each time you recall an emotionally charged memory, you strengthen the very pathway that locks you into that pattern. This isn't a moral failing or a lack of willpower, it's pure biology. Your subconscious mind is designed to conserve energy by relying on established neural networks. It's like a well-worn groove in a record, and until you lift the needle and place it somewhere new, you'll keep hearing the same music. If you want to break free, you must become the observer of your own emotional life. You have to catch yourself when you slip into old patterns and recognize that the feeling you're experiencing is not a prediction of the future. It's a memory of the past. The moment you become conscious of those thoughts and feelings, you create space between stimulus and response. In that gap, you can choose something different. You can intentionally shift your energy to a higher frequency. Gratitude, curiosity, possibility, regardless of external circumstances. It's a skill that requires deliberate practice because your environment and your body will resist. They crave the familiar, even if the familiar causes suffering, because at least it's known. Every time you interrupt a negative emotional habit and choose a new feeling, you send a different signal into the quantum field. Like tuning into a new radio station, you begin to attract experiences that match the vibration you're emitting. You start to notice small synchronicities, an often remark that sparks insight, a chance meeting that opens a door, an unexpected solution emerging in your mind. These occurrences are not random. They are reflections of the new energy pattern you are broadcasting. The field responds to the coherence of your energy, and coherent energy means your thoughts and emotions are aligned with the future you wish to create, not the past you wish to avoid. It's important to understand that transforming your emotional life doesn't mean suppressing or denying what you've been through. It means acknowledging and honoring the pain, then choosing to release its hold over your present moment. You can't rewrite the energy of an old memory, but you can change how you relate to it. You can bring compassion to your younger self, forgiveness to those who hurt you, and gratitude for the lessons learned. By doing so, you shift the charge around the memory. You break the feedback loop of pain and replace it with a new narrative, one in which you are the creative author of your own experience rather than a victim of circumstances. The body, as the unconscious mind, will push back. It will whisper doubts, stir up old anxieties, and labor to drag you back into the past. But each time you persist in feeling something different, each time you remain in an elevated emotional state without external justification, you widen the path in your brain for that new feeling. You gradually dilute the potency of the old grooves, and your neural architecture begins to support new ways of being. Over time, you wake up no longer driven by the automatic replay of yesterday's fears, but guided by the promise of tomorrow's possibilities. As you repeatedly choose to resonate with higher frequencies, you not only rewire your brain, you become a coherent emitter of energy that interacts with the unified field. Your heart rhythms synchronize with your brain, creating a magnetic signature of possibility. That signature becomes irresistible to the field, which then begins to collapse new potentials into form around you. So rather than being a passive receiver of life's events, you become an active participant in the unfolding of your own destiny, continually moving beyond the confines of your past emotional habits and stepping into the limitless realm of your future potential.